Hello, everyone, and here we are. We are finally reaching the last book in the Chronicles of Narnia series, which is The Last Battle by C.S. Lewis. And I'm just going to be honest with you, this book is a crappy ending to the Chronicles of Narnia, and it is so BS, in my opinion. I've heard that C.S. Lewis, after he wrote The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, where Aslan is just clearly Jesus, right? Sacrifices himself for someone, gets resurrected type thing. He was like, no, it's not anything about Christianity. Like, BS, C.S. Lewis. This book is about an ape who takes over Narnia, basically, by dressing up a donkey as a lion in a lion skin. Dressing up a donkey in a lion skin so people think he's Aslan, and is basically a false Aslan, aka a false Christ. Also, I don't even know if there's anything good to say about this book because it was such crap. Just every aspect of it. The animals in Narnia suddenly became stupid and were worshipping this ape man. The Calormens come in and they just enslave a bunch of people and animals, and no one's fighting back, and they're all just listening to what this ape, they are different, this ape says about what Aslan is saying, even though they've never seen Aslan because he's not really there, because it's a donkey dressed in a lion skin. It was all just, what the F is actually happening here, C.S. Lewis? It was so disappointing. And we're going to talk about, of course, the most disappointing and weird and absurd part of the last battle. And yes, there's going to be spoilers here. And I think everyone who's ever read the Chronicles of Narnia or seen the movies eventually figures this out. Everyone who's been to Narnia before, who is still alive in our world, aka like Diggory, Polly, Edmund, Lucy, Peter, Eustace, did I already say Eustace? And Jill, Pole, all get to come back to Narnia, and Susan doesn't. And we are going to get into this right freaking now, because basically it is like 2 sentences. It's a throwaway, oh, where's Queen Susan? Oh, she doesn't believe in Narnia anymore. She's into makeup and buying stockings. And that is how her absence in Narnia is explained. That's it. Nothing else. She doesn't believe in Narnia anymore. Like, what? What? Excuse me? Are you kidding me? Okay, but that's not even the worst part. Ready? Okay. So crap is happening in Narnia, right? This ape has taken over. Suddenly, I believe it's Eustace and Jill appear in Narnia to help. And then at some point in time, everyone else, minus Susan, appears as well. Except, and this is a big spoiler, okay? It turns out they're all dead. What? What? Excuse me? C.S. Lewis, what? Yeah, so they all just died in an effing train accident. Every single one of them. Every single one of them is dead. And so they pop up in Narnia as ghosts, resurrected beings. Maybe Aslan actually, with his magical powers, pulled them out of the train right before they actually died, and so they're dead in their world, but like alive in Narnia land? What? What? Excuse me? No? Okay, so now think about this. Susan, remember, we're starting with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Susan grew up with, Peter, Lucy, Edmund in Narnia. Basically lived, 15. We'll throw that out. I don't remember at one point in time. I did look it up. We'll just say 15 years in Narnia before being shoved back out of wardrobe, regressing to being a young teenager again. She's like 12 or something at the beginning of the series, maybe. And so she has to live through puberty and life twice. She was a queen in Narnia. Now she's just another normal girl in post-World War II England. And then, after all that BS, which would probably cause trauma, her family dies. Her entire family dies. She's left by herself. And just think about this, right? Her whole family's dead in a train accident. Who has to go identify the bodies? Probably Susan. So her last memory of her family is seeing them messed up from this train accident as she's identifying them, probably distraught, depressed, crying her eyes out, and the most attention she gets in the book is 2 little throwaway sentences that she is now obsessed with makeup and stockings and looking pretty and boys. Like, yeah, of course, guess what? Like, Susan, when she comes out of the wardrobe, is technically still an adult. She's already lived 15 years in Narnia, but yet she has to live being a kid again. Imagine the mental effery that happens in your head because of that. Holy crap. Brutal, brutal, C.S. Lewis, brutal. And there's just no point in it. There's no point in her not being able to come back to Narnia. And it's true, if you read the other books, she's kind of the most doubting of the children. She doesn't believe Lucy as much in the second book, which I guess is the third canonically, which is going to take me a second, Prince Caspian, that Lucy can see Aslan and that he's leading them along. She's kind of like the last to believe that. Sure, okay. But then you read The Horse and His Boy, she was almost betrothed to Calormen, and she just like forgets all of that happened. I don't think so, C.S. Lewis, because the explanation they give in the book for her is like, oh, the silly games we used to play when we were children. No. No. Like, I do not think she would forget 15 years of her life unless, once again, she's repressing it because she was an adult and then had to live through being a kid again. Like, what? Just imagine poor Susan's life. Okay, so here's what happens. You know what? Let's get back into the book a little bit, the story. All the children show up in Narnia. There's the false Christ who's a donkey. The false Aslan. See? There's a false Aslan who's a donkey. And then the real Aslan shows up, and basically Narnia gets destroyed. All the animals that are good come out. Dragons come in, I know that Eustace at one point was a dragon, but like suddenly there's a lot more dragons just like tearing things up all over the place and just destroying Narnia and like huge waves coming through, even though there's no like, what? Like we barely even know this land, even though we've read 6 books set there, and then suddenly it's just all being destroyed. But also the Calormen's god is briefly in there, so where the heck did he come from? And if he's also there, does that mean that in The Magician's Nephew, Aslan really did just sing Narnia into place, but this Calormen god made themselves, but then it's implied that Aslan and him are actually the same, just in like a different form. What's happening here? What? Yeah, so then Narnia gets destroyed and Aslan brings everyone who's now dead basically into Narnia's version of heaven, where everything just is like an endless land of Narnia that just keeps going like deeper and deeper, and the further in you go, the more beautiful things are, like, and all their friends are there, which is nice, right? It's nice that all their friends are there, except Susan isn't there, and none of them seem to give a crap. While they all realize, and it's literally like a throwaway line, like at the freaking penultimate page. Let me see if I can find it, and I should have. Yeah, literally. Okay. This is the last 2 pages of the entire Chronicles of Narnia. Penultimate page, right here. Lucy says, "We're so afraid of being sent away, Aslan, and you have sent us back into our own world so often." "No fear of that," said Aslan, "have you not guessed?" Their hearts leaped, and a wild hope rose within them. So they're like, oh yay, we get to stay in this beautiful Narnia heavenland forever. This is the explanation. "There was a real railway accident," said Aslan softly. "Your father and mother and all of you are, as I used to call it in the Shadowlands, dead." And then, like, that's the end. None of them are like, we're dead, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Or, oh my gosh, but what about Susan? She's going to be so sad. It's just like, yeah, you're dead. And then the last line, okay. So Aslan, as a throwaway line on the penultimate page, it's literally right here. You're dead, okay? then Aslan doesn't appear like a lion. He's beautiful, whatever. And then it says this. Now at last they were beginning chapter 1 of the great story, which no one on earth has read, which goes on forever, in which every chapter is better than the one before. So they all get to live in Heavenland, while Susan is probably like institutionalized for depression because her whole family was killed in a railway accident, including her mom and her dad. And she has no one. Absolutely no one there. What? Literally the crappiest, most upsetting ending to a book series. WTF C.S. Lewis, like, he literally couldn't think of something better than that. And literally the throwaway line on the penultimate page, you are dead, but the children not having any response to that. Psychos! They're horrible! They're so rude! Like, you think that Peter was mean to Edmund in the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe because he berated him some? Yeah, well, F that. They aren't even thinking about Susan and how tragic that is. I can't. Like, part of me, and I'm still gonna keep all the books. They're good enough to keep. They have, like I said, I feel like in every book there are scenes that I really, really like, that are really well written, that I can imagine in my head that I would like to draw or paint or something because I really enjoy them. Just forget this one. Just don't read the last battle. Just do whatever you want. Think of a better ending, or just think that they eventually all got back to Narnia. Just something else other than this piece of crap book that was the conclusion to the Chronicles of Narnia. You just kill off all your main characters. Okay, you know what? F that. It was stupid. Like, I am clearly upset about it. Can't rant enough about it. It's like he literally couldn't think of anything better. So he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kill them all. Because that's the only thing that's the only way to end this series, is by having all of my characters dead except Susan, who's still alive in actual real world England. What? Let's also, you know what? If Susan could still be alive today. Susan could still be alive today, guys. Okay? She could be really, really old, and Susan is still living here on planet Earth, while all of her jerk siblings and friends are in Heaven Narnia land, including Aslan the jerk. Okay? BS, BS, BS. What the heck? So that's what I think about The Last Battle. I think it is clearly a Christian-themed book with a lot of Christian imagery throughout it, like Christian themes throughout it, end of the world, whatever, judging people. Do you get to go to heaven? Do you get to go to wherever not heaven is in Narnia land that's not Narnia anymore because Narnia gets destroyed? It was so disappointing. And in the grand scheme of, like, Narnia timelines, once again, I feel like you just didn't get enough time in Narnia to learn about what Narnia is like. You get glimpses of it, you get the first book. It just seems like Narnia's lifetime was so short that it's just kind of upsetting that we didn't get to learn more about it. Which is, once again, I like The Lord of the Rings more because even though there's a lot that still doesn't make sense to me, and I've read the Silmarillion, you get a sense of the world a lot more and what's happened there and where things are, and you don't want Middle Earth to end. You want Middle Earth to be our Earth. You want it to be like, yeah, our ancestors are Aragorn and all of his peeps, you know, and like the people of Rohan, those are our ancestors, and like our world became, like Middle Earth is our world, you know, but you read Narnia and by the end you're like, what? Huh? Yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, maybe just skip this book. Just end, if you're reading them in chronological order, just end with the horse and his boy. It would be the Silver Chair, because the horse and his boy, like, takes place, I guess, kind of in between The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian, chronological-wise, in Narnia's confusing timeline that seems very short because we only get little glimpses of it, like I said. Which, like, not a bad thing. And once again, Dude, no, not once again, it's a kid's book. Even for a kid's book, to just kill all your characters off at the end and put that as a throwaway line where they don't react, there's no, like, deeper thought about it, no, that's not okay. That's weird. That'd be like if at the end of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, and she did, and the thing about Harry Potter is Harry Potter kind of grew with the audience, right? Like, the books got progressively longer, darker, as the characters grew up, as we, the readers who had been reading them when we were young, also grew up. But it'd be like if at the end, instead of killing a couple of characters, just like everyone died. And it was like, and wizards were no more. Like, well, no. Yeah. So I can't say that the last battle was great, because it wasn't. It was crap. And it's the worst, stupidest, dumbest ending to a series maybe ever. Okay? The only other one that I can think of that does piss me off to, like, maybe a similar degree, but not even then, because the whole Susan thing drives me nuts, is the Cirque du Freak books. Don't know if you've ever read them. It's like a vampire series. And yeah, I'm going to spoil it. So if you want to go read them, be my guest. At the end, he basically just rewinds time and none of that ever happened. It's like a story where you wake up and the whole thing was a dream BS. That's I feel like in my head that's the author clearly not knowing how to end it, and so they're just like, it never happened, it erased it, or we killed everyone. Like, what the heck? Think of a better ending. Be a better writer. No. Anyway. That was a really long rant. Give me your thoughts. What do you think about the last battle? What do you think about Susan not being able to be there? What do you think about them basically judging her and not giving a crap about her? Because that's cold. That's cold. What the heck? She's living in a world where all of her family's dead now. F you, C.S. Lewis. That's not cool. Okay, yeah. I think I'm done. The last battle, done. I guess my question's going to be, since I already talked about Cirque du Freak, can you think of another series that has a worse ending than the Chronicles of Narnia? If so, let me know down below. I'm going to go look it up. Because, no, that's not okay. What the heck? So stupid. That was The Last Battle by C.S. Lewis. This has been an adventure reading the Chronicles of Narnia. I'm sorry this has gotten so long, but cannot handle this last book. But overall, I really enjoyed reading the Chronicles of Narnia. It was fun to get back into the world. It was fun to read books that I read as a kid and literally couldn't remember a single thing about, except for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I only remember that because I've seen the movie. Once again, I'm sad they didn't get to make more movies, except, like, maybe you could think of a better ending than this crap. But we'll see. We'll see what the Netflix series does that's coming out sometime. I don't know when. Maybe next year. Maybe 2027. Who knows? They might have announced that. I don't know. But yeah, it's been fun. I really enjoyed reading them, even though I just ranted about the last book for like 20 minutes about how crap it was. So just skip the last battle. Pretend it doesn't exist. It's fine. It's not going to add anything to the series, to be honest. So that is the Chronicles of Narnia. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with me on this journey through Narnia. And comment down below if you know any books that have a worse ending than this. Subscribe, share if you know people who like to read books. Thank you so much for listening, and y'all have a great day.